There's been a lot of bad news rolling in for Big Blue, but on today's show, we're going to break down the great news that they just received that I believe is going to help them beat the Commanders coming up this Sunday. Speaking of beating the Commanders, if you want to walk out of Sunday with a win, if you want to experience Victory Monday once again, I need you to do your part and go down right now and hit that thumbs up icon. You're watching Giants Now by Chat Sports. I am your host, Marshall Green, and it is always a good Friday when the New York Giants get some good news, and today they got that. Tyrone Tracy Jr., the rookie running back, had an amazing game this past Sunday. But the game ended early because he sustained a concussion. It was actually a Monday night game, so a very quick turnaround for him. And on Friday, he returned to practice. He is going to play this Sunday, and he has been cleared, and he is out of the concussion protocol. And this is great news, not just for the Giants, but also for Tracy. This is a guy that has emerged as the starting running back for this team. And since he has taken over that spot, since Devin Singletary went down with an injury of his own, he has run with the opportunity. He has been awesome and everything you could have expected out of a player that you selected in the 5th round. The reason you let a guy like Saquon Barkley walk and not commit high dollars to a running back is because of players like Tyrone Tracy. In his last 4 weeks, where he's essentially been that starting back, he's gotten 61 carries, 347 yards, 5.6 yards per carry, and he has 2 touchdowns. In 3 of the 4 games, versus Seattle, versus Cincinnati, and versus Pittsburgh, he picked up and tacked up more than 100 total yards. Against Seattle, he had 18 carries for $129, 7.1 yards per carry. Against Pittsburgh, 20 carries for 145 yards, and he had that long touchdown run. 2 games of over 18 carries with more than 7.1 yards per tote. And this is a guy that's doing it more so than just the regular stats that show up in the box score. He's made 11 tacklers missed. When you talk about carries to missed tackles force, he's at the top of the league because he doesn't have that many carries. Didn't play all that much at the start of the year. He has 9 runs of more than 10 plus yards. He has 5 runs of more than 15 plus yards. And he has 220 yards after contact. If there's green grass in front of him, he's going to eat it up. If he needs to make a tackle or miss in the hole, he can do that. And for a guy that's only played this position for 2 years, he has elite contact balance as well as vision. He sees those cutback lanes, he puts his foot in the ground, and he changes speed just as quick as we've seen any Giants running back in recent memory. I truly do believe Tracy has star potential for this New York Giants offense. This is a guy that I think is just scratching the surface of who he can be and what he can bring to a football team. This is a guy that can be involved in the passing game. This is a guy that can run in between the tackles. This is a guy that's awesome in the screen game, and he's also someone that if you want to run outside, he's got top-end speed that can leave defenders in the dust. And I honestly love the idea of having a 2-headed backfield that features Tyrone Tracy as well as Devin Motors Singletary. I think Singletary is still a good back. And going forward, speaking of 2025 and maybe 2026, these could be your 2 top backs. And Singletary was good before his injury. He was at the top of the league before the injury when it came to yards after contact, making defenders miss and picking up those tough yards and rushing yards over expected. So I don't want to see Singletary completely eliminated from the game plan. I do want to see more carries go to Tracy, but I like the idea of having 2 backs that I trust to pick up big-time yards for this offense who, quite frankly, has lacked explosive plays, and Tyrone Tracy has brought a lot of those. And I think there's other ways that Tracy can affect this game and affect this offense and take it to new heights that we have not seen yet. If you remember, Tyrone Tracy in his first 4 years in college was a wide receiver at Iowa. Then after those 4 years, he transferred to Purdue and he became a running back. This is a guy that I think can take your passing game to another level. Maybe it's not this year, Maybe it's not next year, but sooner rather than later, I think the Giants are going to involve him, and they are going to add some secret sauce to this offense. In his college career, those first 4 years, you saw the stats on screen, and I posted the highlights on my Twitter a couple of days ago. These weren't just screen passes. These weren't just drag routes. This was the guy taking the top off the defense, making contested catches. He has legit wide receiver skills, and I believe Brian Daboll is chomping at the bit to start having those empty sets where it's a 5-wide look with 4 wide receivers and Tracy. You can manipulate the defensive personnel when you can run 5 wide and one of those guys is a running back. And this isn't just a guy that's going to come off the line and catch a pass like this. This is a guy that can run a go route. This guy can run a post route. He can get over the top. He can run a double move. He can do things that other wide receivers can't. Obviously not an NFL caliber wide receiver, but has enough skills and experience, in my opinion, to be one of the better running backs in this league when split out as a receiver. When the Giants introduce those empty sets with Tyrone Tracy, maybe it's next year with a new quarterback, they are going to have a different look, and I believe that will be the first step into becoming an explosive offense. We've got more coming up in a second, but if you want to beat the Commanders, sub for Giants dubs. Last Monday night, we told you guys, sub for dubs, and only 57 people subscribed. I believe if we get 58 people to subscribe today, we're going to walk out of Sunday with the win. Daily Giants videos. Every freaking Sunday, we're live on the channel, so subscribe and turn the notifications on. Coming up next, we're going to break down the full injury report for the New York Giants as well as the Washington Commanders. But first, I got to give a huge shout out to today's sponsor, Game Time. If you're looking to buy tickets to a Giants game, maybe you want to go to a Knicks game, or you want to go to a concert or a theater event, do it with our proud sponsor, Game Time. When you create an account and you use the promo code ChatSports, they're going to give you $20 off your first purchase where terms do apply. You get the best seats for the lowest prices guaranteed. Prices actually drop as the events get closer. You get to see your seat view in the app, and you get to access your tickets from your phone. The reason I love it is because it's the most user-friendly app out there. A lot of times, I feel like these apps that sell tickets take advantage of their customers, not Game Time. They make sure you get the best price, or the best seats, for the lowest price guaranteed. And when you use these two features, all-in pricing and Game Time picks, it makes it that much more easy to get the best deal, because no hidden fees, and go see your favorite people perform. So download the app, create an account, and use that promo code ChatSports. That's ChatSports. And Game Time will give you $20 off your first purchase where terms do apply. All righty, for the New York Giants, 2 players that are not going to play. Jamie Gillan, your punter. He's missed, I believe this will be his 4th game. He was not assigned to IR, so he is eligible to return. He did some punting this week, but he's not healthy enough to punt. So you're down your punter. And once again, against the Washington Commanders, you are going to have your backup, not even a backup kicker. You have injury problems going into the game. We all know what happened in week 2 when the Giants couldn't kick a field goal because Graham Gano was hurt and then got hurt before the game, and then whatever you want to say. Greg Joseph, his backup, he's not going to play. So you're not only on your 3rd kicker in Jude McAdamy, who's going to come up from the practice squad, you are once again with your 2nd punter, Matt Hack. He's punted the last couple of games. When I was looking up some stats, I forgot how bad that Eagles game was just 3 weeks ago or maybe 2 weeks ago. The man punted 11 times. I don't want to see much of him, and I only want to see him kicking PATs. Let's punch it in the end zone, and hopefully, if we need a clutch kick from Mr. Jude, he can go out and make it happen. As we continue with the New York Giants injury report, Bryce Ford Wheaton, he is doubtful for Sunday. He's dealing with an Achilles injury. He's made some good plays on special teams. We all know what he did on the game-winning blocked kick return. And hopefully he's out there because the Giants are kind of thin at that receiver spot, and it's always good to have big-time players on special teams. Ty Summers, guy that was on the practice squad, then elevated the active roster. He's played a lot on special teams as well. He is going to be questionable for the game with an ankle injury. The Giants are kind of thin at that inside linebacker spot. Hopefully he'll be ready to go if they do need him out there. For the Commanders, only one player has been officially ruled out, and that's their offensive tackle, Cornelius Lucas. And then their running back, who I'm a big fan of, shout out to 50 Cent, Brian Robinson Jr., he is going to be questionable for this ball game. So if you don't see Robinson, you're going to see a lot of Austin Eckler. He had a pretty good game against the Giants the last time, good in the pass-catching department, and can still make defenders miss. So 2 injuries to monitor for Washington. I just want to take a look at some advanced stats before we get out of here on today's video. You can see that them on screen. I won't list every single one, but the ones that stick out to me, the New York Giants, they have the 31st ranked scoring offense, whereas the Washington Commanders, they have the 3rd best scoring offense. So you're going to need your offense to wake up. You're going to need them to show up. And then you talk about rushing yards allowed. The Washington Commanders can be beat on the ground, and that's why I think it's such a big sign and such a big bunch of great news for the Giants is that the Commanders allow 140.4 rushing yards per game, the 25th most or ranked 25th, essentially the 7th most in the NFL. So Tracy could be in store for a big one. I also want to go through some of these advanced analytics, and I feel like these just kind of paint the story of what both teams are. Washington averages a league-high 3.01 points per drive. The Giants have to get off the field. They didn't force one punt against Washington in week 2. They have to get stops. Because the Giants' offense, it averages 1.28 points per drive, 31st in the league. The Giants have scored a touchdown on 1 of 44 drives at home this year. They need to get it done at MetLife Stadium. The Giants average 5.3 yards or 5.3 plays per game. That gained 15 or more yards, 27th in the league, whereas Washington averages 7.5 plays of more than 15 plus yards, 6th in the league. So you got an explosive offense versus really a stuck-in-the-mud offense. Someone needs to step up. And I understand that offense is going to be big this week, but I really see the only way the Giants are going to win this game is if their defense shows up and shows out. If the Giants' defense can hold the Washington Commanders to below 21 points, I think the Giants should win this game. And my number one key to victory is keep Jaden Daniels in the pocket. I'm not worried about design runs with Jaden Daniels. He hasn't been that effective on those. But when he breaks contain, when the play breaks down, and he starts to make magic happen like he does, you cannot let him kill you as a scrambler. We saw him do it in week 2 as a scrambler. Crick killed the Giants. We saw Joe Burrow go for a 50-yard run against the Giants. We saw Geno Smith go with a 40-yard run in the 4th quarter. There needs to be multiple sets of eyes beyond the defensive line on Jaden Daniels coming up this Sunday if you want to get back in the win column. Keep him in the pocket, make him make throws in the pocket, and make him throw somewhere else besides to the right side of the field and short, because that's where he likes to go. Who do you got, though? Tyrone Tracy back in the lineup. Who do you got? Also, Christian Hubbard, I'm blanking on the guy's name, the offensive tackle for the Giants. He's also going to start at left tackle. Joshua Zudu is also out, or may not be out, but he's out of the starting lineup. Who do you got? Let me know in the comments section. And make sure you are following me on social media. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram, @MarshallGreen_. Hit me up over there, and let's go Big Blue.